ॐ गुरुरेव घति गुरुमेव भजे गुरुनैव सखास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरुः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरो मम पाहि गुरो सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेदमपेदकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेदि तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेतः। सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. We are seeing Srimad Bhagavada Mahapurana and we are seeing Canto 9 in it, and we are seeing the line of Pura rivers. Puri rivers belongs to the Chandra Vamsha, and the Puri river's son was Ayush. Ayush's son was Nahusha. Nahusha's son was Yayadi, and Yayadi's eldest son was Yatu, and his youngest son was Puru. Now, in this video, we will see the line of Puru. The line of Puru had many Rajarshis and Bhramarshis, and it is a very famous line also. And Puru's son was Janamejaya. He can be said as the Janamejaya one, because the son of Parikshit Maharaja, who is hearing this Bhagavata, his name is also Janamejaya. That is, Arjuna's grandson's name was also Janamejaya. But Janamejaya is not this Janamejaya. So we can tell him as Janamejaya one. So anyway, Puru's son's name was Janamejaya. In the line of Puru only came Raja Dushyanta. We all know the story of Raja Dushyanta and Shakuntala and Bharata. Anyway, to remember it once again, I'll tell a bird's eye view of it. Raja Dushyanta, one day when he was going for hunting, and he entered inside the premises of Kanva Rishi's ashrama. By mistake, he entered there. There he saw a very beautiful girl plucking flowers. And he was wonderstruck by the beauty of that girl. And he went near that girl and asked her, "What is your name? Where are you from? What is your kura? And who are you? Are you from the heaven? Are you an Apsaras, or are you from the Bhumi itself?" He asked questions, and she said, that girl said, "My name is Shakuntala. And Vishwamitraatmajaivaham tyakta menakaya vane Vedaitad Bhagavan Kanvo Veera Kim Karavamate." I am the daughter of Vishwamitra and Menaka, but I was abandoned by my parents. And Kanva Rishi, he brought me up, and he brought me up in this ashrama only. "So what service can I do to you, Maharaj?" she asked, and in a very polite, humble manner, she asked him, and she served him very good food also. And Raja Dushyanta said, it's not a surprise that you belong to the line of the Kaushikas, because the line of Vishwamitra is a line of Kaushika, so there is no doubt in it. And he requested that, "Will you marry me according to the Gandharva rites?" And Gandharva rites means a marriage by instant attraction. And she also agreed to it, and Dushyanta married Shakuntala Devi. He stayed there for some time, and after some days, he went back to his palace. And Shakuntala remained in the ashrama of Kanva Rishi, and after 1 year, she gave birth to a son. And Kanva Rishi itself, he performed all the postnatal ceremonies for that young infant boy. And he was brought up by the ashrama people only. So he was very brave by birth itself. And he had that idea that all are one like that because he was brought up by a rishi. And he grew as a very brave person. And that is, when he was very young, he will play with the cubs of the lion. He doesn't say any difference between himself or the lion. He will play with the lion, he will go with the tigers, he will catch the snake. He didn't have any fear for all that. The rishi brought him like that. So when the boy grew a little older, Shakuntala Devi decided to go to the palace of Dushyanta with this Bharata. And she went to the palace of Dushyanta. But Dushyanta did not recognize Shakuntala itself. He thought that this woman is coming from somewhere with a child and telling lie that I am your wife. Like that he thought. And he didn't agree at all. At that time, everyone, including Shakuntala, Dushyanta, and all the people seated in that assembly heard a disembodied voice. That is the Asharira or the Duravani they heard. It said, Dushyanta, take charge of your son. Dushyanta putram bharasva ma avamamstha Shakuntala. Accept your son and do not disgrace Shakuntala. Do not doubt her. Naradeva redodaha putro yamakshayat pitam nayati. It is the son who saved your father from the naraka, that is from the hell. Tvam cha asya dhada, you are his father. Shakuntala satyamaha, she is telling the truth. Shakuntala is not lying, she is telling the truth. As soon as when the king heard this Duravani, that is this Ashariti, he immediately accepted Shakuntala and his son. And they were in the palace itself. After the lifetime of Dushyanta Maharaja, Bharata became the ruler. He was such a good ruler. Everyone liked him. He was a man of principle, a great bhakta of Bhagavan. Just imagine, he performed 133 Ashwamedha yajnas during his lifetime. To perform one yajna itself is a great difficulty for the people who live on earth. But he performed 133 Ashwamedha yajnas. And he was beyond the devas and all. He didn't want heaven and all. He is beyond that. And everyone believed that he is an amsha of Bhagavan Vishnu because he had the lotus mark on his soul, and on his right palm he had the mark of the chakra. So everyone thought that he is an avatar of Bhagavan Vishnu. So he ruled the land very well and he made many reforms. He surpassed the glory and excellences of all the devas and he attained the supreme being at the end of his life. Whenever he performed an yajna, he gave elaborate gifts to the priests and the brahmanas. So they were all happy, not only to the priest and brahmana. If anyone go to him and say that I do not have money, then he will give him a land. Some land and some cattle, like that. And he suppressed many tribes of barbarians to Vedic culture. He transformed them to Vedic culture. He rescued many celestial women from the Rasatala. Whenever the Asuras win over the Devas, they will take all the women from the heaven and they will lock them up in Rasatala. So when Bharata became the ruler, he released all of them. Like this, he performed many reforms. In the heaven or the earth, they yielded to the demands of the subjects there. So he was such a great ruler and he ruled like this for 27,000 years. Bharata had many children, But what he thought was, none of them are qualified enough or good enough to rule this great land. See, just think about his nature, his mentality. He wanted to save this precious land, Bharata. That is why, after his lifetime, this great land was known as Bharata, because he didn't have any that selfish feeling. He didn't want any of his own sons to rule this land. He wanted a good ruler. So he performed there the Maritstoma Yajna. And he gave sacrifices to the Maruts, and the Maruts appeared before him, and they gave him a son. He was later known as Bharatwaja. He was a great rishi. Actually, this Bharadwaja rishi, he had a story behind him. He was the son of Guru Brahaspati, and by some misunderstanding between his wife and Brahaspati, they both ignored this son. They doubted whether it is Brahaspati's son or like that. So they ignored this son. And Maruts took them and they brought them up. They adopted this son and they brought them up. So when he performed the Maritsoma Yajna, the Maruts gave him this son. And he was Bharadwaja Rishi, and he ruled over this great land, Bharata. And with that ended the story of Dushyanta, Shakuntala, and Bharata. And after giving this kingdom to Bharadwaja Rishi, Dushyanta and Shakuntala, they went and they attained Bhagavan. Now, Bharata became the ruler. In his line came Rantideva. He was another great emperor. He was known for his performing pujas, austerities, sacrifices, everything. He used to fast thinking about Bhagavan. So one, he was fasting for nearly one mandala. At the end of it, he was about to take food. At that time, some people came, yachakas came and asked for food. Immediately, he gave that food. He was such a great person. He didn't say any difference between himself or others. On another occasion, he fasted like this. It is a routine to fast like this and worship Bhagavan and sit for meditation. So in another occasion, he meditated on Bhagavan and he was about to break that fasting. And when he was about to take some water, three people came and asked him for water. Immediately he gave that water to that people. But actually that was Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva in disguise, and they blessed him, and he was such a great emperor. That's why I said in the line of Purus, there were so many Brahma Rishis, Rajarshis, etc. Another one, famous one who came in that line was King Hasti. Actually, he formed that land, Hastinapura, kingdom Hastinapura. So he was known for that. In that line only came another great king, Bharmyashva. And actually, he had five sons, and he gave five, each one province. That is, he gave five province, each one to his five sons. And he said that you are capable of protecting my five provinces like my five senses. So that land, they collectively came to be known, that group of land, they came to be known as the Panchala Desha. And in that line only came another great emperor, Pratipa. He had three sons. His first son was Devapi. Actually, he became an ascetic. He was not interested in this worldly life. He became an ascetic. And his second son, that is his middle son, was Raja Shantanu, very famous in Mahabharata. So he was Raja Shantanu. Shantanu was when he was very young, when he was going for hunting, he saw the cry of two small infants. So he went near that tree and saw that he was a boy infant and a girl infant. He brought them up to his palace and gave to a rishi to bring them up. And that boy infant was later known as Kripacharya, and that girl infant was later known as Kripi. Kripi married Dronacharya, and Kripacharya remained in the Hastinapura along with Shantanu's line, descendants. And Shantanu Raja later married Ganga Devi, and their son was Bhishmacharya. He was a great scholar, well learned, established in the self, who know all the codes of dharma, who know all the Raja dharma. And after Ganga Devi went to heaven, Shantanu Maharaj married a fisher woman. Her name was Satyavati. Satyavati, before marrying Shantanu Maharaj, she married Rishi Parashara. And Rishi Parashara and Satyavati's son was Krishna Dvaipayana, otherwise known as Bhadrayana, or otherwise known as Vedavyasa. So she had one son by that marriage, but later after that, after the birth of this son, Vedavyasa or Krishna Dvaipayana, that Rishi went. And so Satyavati again married Shantanu Maharaja. And Shantanu Maharaja and Satyavati, they had two sons. First son's name was Chitrangada, but he died very young in the hands of the Gandharva. And his second son, their second son's name was Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya married the daughters of Kashi, Ambika and Ambalika. But Vichitravirya also died very young. So later Satyavati invited Vedavyasa or Bhadrayana, and Ambika, Ambalika and another Dasi had children by this Vedavyasa, from Vedavyasa. And they were Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura. Dhritarashtra was born as a blind child. Dhritarashtra married Gandhari and they had 100 sons, and their eldest son was Duryodhana. Pandu had two wives, Kundi and Madri, and they had 5 sons, and their son was Arjuna, and whose son was Parikshit Maharaja, who is hearing this story. And Parikshit's son was Janamejaya. Actually, Janamejaya, he performed a Sarpa Satra, that is the serpent sacrifice. It lasted for many years, and he was very angry with all the snakes because his father died of snake bite. So he wanted to sacrifice all the snakes in this world in that yajna. But later it was stopped by another sage, Ashtika. So his son was Janamejaya, who performed this Sarpa sacrifice. After Janamejaya, his son Satanika, he was the ruler, and after some generation, Hastinapura itself was swallowed by the river. And all the people, they went to the other land, Kaushambi. So Shukra Brahmarishi is telling that this line will cease with Shimaka in the age of Kali. So Shimaka, King Shimaka was the last emperor in that line of Puru, or in the Luna dynasty. So this was the line of Puru. Puru was the son of Yayati Maharaj. He was the youngest son of Yayati Maharaj. Actually, the kingdom came to him. But his eldest son's name was Yatu. In my next upload, I will tell about the line of Yatu, which is a very important line. And I will continue that in my next upload. Om Namo Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.